So different doctors in the US and around the world that are used to chelating kids use different doses of calcium EDTA. Now, if you come into the emergency room with a kid who just drank a bunch of lead, lead poisoning, whatever, that's acutely intoxicated, has encephalopathy that just happened from a lead poisoning, that's kind of where medicine designs all of its treatment plans. That's not very commonly the case. More of our kids are chronically toxically exposed a little bit every day, and they need different treatment. But that dose could be 50 milligrams per kilo of body weight of calcium EDTA given IV over an extended period of time in the hospital. That's not what I do in my clinic. That's such a high dose of calcium EDTA that it strips out a lot of nutritional minerals, and it runs the risk of a lot more side effects. And I don't use that high of a dose. I cut it back to just 10 milligrams per kilo because I think it's a lot safer, I get much fewer side effects, and I don't deplete the children of their minerals as much using that lower of a dose. Now, this is calcium EDTA. Calcium EDTA. Never, ever, ever, ever use sodium EDTA to chelate metals because you'll steal calcium from the body, you'll steal it out of muscle cells, and calcium is required for contraction of muscles. So when you steal calcium out of heart muscle and it's required for contraction, what happens? The heart stops beating. When you steal it out of respiratory muscles in your diaphragm, what happens to your breathing? You stop breathing. 2 children have died in the US from receiving sodium EDTA IV for chelation. Now, some doctors who chelate have sodium EDTA to treat adults with cardiovascular disease. And that's a dangerous place to be as in a clinic that treats cardiovascular disease and autism. My concern is that on some Friday morning, a nurse is going to grab EDTA, hearing the doctor say, I want to give this kid EDTA, and she's going to grab the sodium EDTA bottle out of the fridge instead of the calcium EDTA bottle out of the fridge. And you have to, as a parent, if you're going to be in a clinic that does this, look at the label of what's going into your kid. Be responsible, get in there and say, I want to see what you're going to inject my kid with. I want to see the bottle, I want to see the bag, I want to initial the bag so I know that that's the bag that I saw you put the stuff in, that's what's going to go into my kid, because I don't need another child with autism dying as a result of sodium EDTA exposure. They also need to have calcium gluconate in their clinic ready for infusion, because that's the way you treat that poisoning. Sodium EDTA can be treated with calcium EDTA, with calcium gluconate.